In the last video, I said I put in my first riv nut, and I'm here to tell you that I still love that tool. So we got the fuel rails and stuff all set up. Feed line comes in over here, comes back over to the front, out the passenger side, and then over to the regulator. Regulator is secured to the strut tower with a riv nut and a bolt. And then I also used a riv nut on the firewall with the P-clamp for the supply line. Supply line comes down here against the firewall. Going underneath the car, coming back this way, and then we got P-clamp there. P-clamp here with a riv nut and a bolt. And then I think I said in the last one I was gonna try to go under here, and I was thinking about modifying this. I didn't want to do that, so I decided on a little different strategy. So I decided to actually put the filter up on top of the subframe connector and then go this way. So filter kind of goes in this little hump under the seat on top of the subframe connector to another 90, comes back this way to a P-clamp, and then swoops around in here, and then it'll go on top of the subframe connector again. This little flat area here is actually where I'm going to put the flex fuel sensor, because the return line is going to follow along this way, and then it's going to come back here. So that serves a couple purposes. It uses these gaps where these humps are, makes it so I don't have to run the line underneath this kind of sharp edge, and it does give me a nice smooth way to route it. Got another P-clamp here, and then I'm going to run the lines up together this way, and I'm basically just going to follow this all the way up and over, and I'll show you that once I get there. Right now what I want to do is actually make the return line up into the flex sensor right here. So flex sensor is going to kind of go up something like this, and then I'm going to come out with the 90 and then follow the feed line back. Let me just do it. It'll make a lot more sense, and I'll just show it when it's done. Okay, fuel system done. Not quite done, but I'm going to call it done. Already looked at the front. Here we have feed and supply coming down. And it comes all the way back through the P-clamps. I do have it zip tied like every 6 inches. I do still want to get like one more P-clamp to mount the regulator. It's pretty good in there now. It's not going anywhere, but would like to just secure it a little bit better. And it comes back this way over to where the flex sensor is mounted. Flex sensor is also mounted with stainless class 8 hardware. I believe it's M5 size. That thing's not going anywhere. I'm gonna get a sticker and put it on there that says might as well use as lift point, because that's not going anywhere. After the flex sensor, we got these both up. P-clamp there, following this rail all the way up to another clamp here. Obviously I didn't tie any of those together yet. But coming up to the rear here, and this is really where we had the problem before, was the lines were coming out and they're actually rubbing on the diff, because they're coming straight out of the hat, because the fuel hat comes out straight this way. So the lines were coming straight out of the fuel hat around here, and they were coming and rubbing right on the diff. Took this thing, P-clamped it actually to the back side of here. The tank strap was going to mount here. P-clamped here, and then I actually used this Y-block and then some 45 fittings. So it comes down off the P-clamp, and then 45s around the spare tire well. So I'll be able to tuck this thing up nice into the gap. And then these two lines are going to go, to the two blue lines on the hat. And then this 6AN here for the return is going to come in like this and swoop in here and then get connected. So I'm not going to put the tank in yet, so this is why I'm considering this part done. The hat is done, and I really just need to make like 2 lines that are a few inches longer and then put a fitting on this, and then it should be good. I want to kind of support the tank up a little bit, so I'll be able to fit all that stuff and get these nice and tight. But that's kind of the idea there. Comes back around, 45 around the tire well, not hitting the diff. Should be good. Then before, all the wiring was underneath the car too. We're not going to do the wiring under the car. The wiring is going to go in through the car. And then for like the alternator charge post and the starter, these wires are going to go down to a firewall bulkhead and then into the car, back to the battery. So as far as running stuff underneath the car, that's pretty much going to be all of it. That way we also have the power cables separated from the fuel lines, and then I'll still be able to put the power cables and stuff on the passenger side. Before, we had a power line that was running from this fuse box all the way down the driver's side, but alternators on here, so we'll have to figure out how to get power over to here when the battery's coming all the way up from the back. Again, before, the battery was on the driver's side in the back, but your alternator and starter and everything, ECU, everything's over on this side. So we kind of had power that was crossing over the car. This one was ran straight to the back. The feed line was on this side. The return line was this side for the fuel system. So we had feed on passenger side, and then the flex sensor and everything was on the driver's side. This should make a lot more sense. Just try to keep everything as much on the passenger side as possible, because we have an alternator starter here. I'm going to move the battery over. Now I'm just repeating myself, but Really just trying to kind of simplify everything and not have it kind of crossing all over the car. So hopefully that makes sense. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.